Hello everyone, SiegeLink here, back with what might be the final game of JinLair PinkWings versus Lions, Tigers, and Bears. If they win this one, it means that PhysicsNoob 4-0'd us. I don't really blame myself for not going, but I mean, if you're just gonna proxy, I'm just surprised, like, because when Lock goes like, okay, he's safe, so might as well go with the good old trusty, as my friend Quentin would say, and just proxy him. But if you're gonna say something like that, like in your mind, then by that logic you're like, well, that I have a pretty good win rate with this build because Zerg players just aren't good at dealing with it. Like, and if that's the case, if you it means you played with a bunch. He was he was using that build as if he's never played it. Like that, quite frankly, infuriated me watching that game because he went for a proxy as if he's never proxied before. Like even just like watching one, it doesn't even look like he looked at like a GM game of when you proxy someone because he did everything wrong with that proxy. Like the location was first of all horrendous. He basically built the barracks like in front of the natural base. Like, hey, I'm proxying you, and just did it right in his opponent's face. And then even like after the proxy, like so many things he did wrong. Lock seems like that type of person that's kind of like he has really good days and really bad days. It's just a matter of what day he's playing. Because there's only one thing I can say about that game: bad. Oof. Er. Cringe. Like the last time he actually won 2-0, and both of the games were actually pretty convincing. To be fair, one of them was due to lag, but even without lag, it would actually very well could have gone in his favor. Like he did much better than Warhawk did, for example. So far, nothing too crazy, even though it's not perfectly mirrored. Bit different timing on the Lings and the drones. Quite a few more on PhysicsNoob's part, but he rallied them into the main, which is kind of weird. Bane Nest block there. Kind of interesting. I actually kind of like it quite a bit. You could have a queen, or you could just have a unit or a building. I'm actually not certain if one Ling blocks that off. I think it does. That's a very small opening. A pretty quick speed going. Harroku's got plenty of Lings to counter it, though. He's also got Banes on the way. The Banes are a little late, though, and that's looks like a bit of unlucky timing might have cost him here. But he's actually not going to target the Lings, or the Banelings. He's just going to go right into the main base. But he's not microing perfectly, considering given that was his plan. The Queen actually blocking the Baneling. Another thing I've seen from Harroku, which is a pretty big mistake, is you should never manually detonate the Banelings. You should always just A move with them, because if you A move with the Banelings, they will never detonate unless they have it can kill at least one unit. When you manually detonate them, it's very like every single time I think I've seen Harroku manually detonate Banelings, they've always gotten like nothing. He's gonna send some more in. Hold up. Okay. I was about to say, for a sec I thought he was making no lings. I was like, what are you doing, PhysicsNoob? Yeah, this might seem like it's overly aggressive, but this is just ZVZ in general. It's early Lingbane into Roaches, Roach Ravager, and maybe some Lurkers. No cancel in the third, which is surprising because he's not really microing too much. He definitely should have had enough APM to deal with that. Queen, very good spot. Surround the Queen's pretty good, but he's not really. Ooh, he doesn't actually even kill it. But yeah, even if he would have killed it, he wouldn't have been able to get anything else. Roku's got another round of Lings coming. And he did kill his opponent's third, so I think just keep those defensive. He's got one Bane. Really should definitely put a Creep Timber here, though. And also a Creep Timber here so he can move the Queen back and forth easily. Here doesn't matter as much, but here definitely so, because otherwise the Queen can't defend both bases comfortably. He's making a few more Banes, and it looks like they might get caught. Bad timing once again, but he does have one Baneling this time. And actually, he's just got more Lings in general. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, he does have a few Banes of his own. And yeah, that's just ZVZ in general. It's all about the big Bane hits. Pretty much one big Bane hit just does it. Roku's got a lot of Lings, but they're all in production. And the opponent's got a massive amount of Banelings. And that should do it. He's also not even moving his drones away. He did get his Queen to survive. He does have some Lings, so he might barely hold on, which will win him the game because he's got 3 hatches. But if he takes pretty much any more damage, that starts to become worrisome. He's gonna build a Roach Warren. Okay, that's a mistake, Harroku. You've got a Bane Nest. You don't need Ling Bane Roach when you don't even have 2 bases saturated. 2 of your 3 bases aren't even saturated, and you're going into Roaches. That's a big mistake. You need that money for more units. You know your opponent. You have the Overlord here, and even here as well. You know your opponent's on 2 bases, so you shouldn't spend your money on anything but army. Where is Harroku even looking? I'm pretty certain that was PhysicsNoob detonating his own Banelings. Again, do not detonate your own Banelings. A-move them. Never just attack with them. I think there's been like 100 units killed this game. No, you know. That felt like it was 100 units killed by his own Banelings, but it was like 50, like 30. Yeah, this is going to be it, and quite frankly, a large reason for it is because Harroku made the Roach Warren. Like, he might even lose the lair before the Roaches even pop. Also, I don't see much reason on making the lair in ZVZ on the natural base. Because, like, you always want to put the lair at the least vulnerable spot, but I don't ever see how putting it in the main is less vulnerable than the natural. I mean, sure, it's Zen, it's one of the easier maps to defend, but pun not intended. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, again, he went into Roaches even though he already had a Bane Nest, and Roaches don't even hard counter Lings. In fact, Lings do better against Roaches. Because early on, there's going to be so many more Lings than Roaches. And he might even kill the Roach Warren here. Yeah, that's going to be it here. Harroku, despite being pretty behind, he did semi-okay in the last few minutes to hold on. But I mean, he's just lost so much. I mean, his opponent's not making a follow-up hatchery, which means eventually his bases will mine out. Like, his main's actually starting to mine out. But I mean, whether he attacks or he starts macroing, he's gonna win it. Honestly, I would love to see him just attack the lair. Like, attack the lair, build a lair of your own, and get a hatch up. I mean, I would see a lot of people just concede here, and I don't blame Harroku for not conceding yet. There we go. Yeah, I think Harroku, I mean, that was kind of just a classic ZVZ of the big Bane hits kind of determined it, but Harroku had some situations where it really shouldn't have happened. Especially because he was going into Roaches when he had no army. When you are ahead bases, and you know the opponent is basically forced to attack you, otherwise you're in a huge lead, never spend any money anywhere except units. he went into roaches, and by the time he got roaches, he nearly lost the lair, lost every single worker pretty much, other than like 20 on the main base, and then the roaches come out, they instantly die to the lynx. Like, why go for the roaches when you have no army and you already have the main nest? It made no sense. So that's going to be it. We're down 4-1 this game, but it's not too bad because we're still up 3-2 in the overall league. And yeah, it wasn't too bad from Harroku, but I think the Roach War was definitely a big brain fart. There was absolutely no reason for that whatsoever. And building that Roach Warren, like he actually in the last few minutes he defended really well. Like if he didn't have the Roach Warren and he just kept making Lings and Banes, he actually could have held there. And his opponent was just refusing to expand. And because his opponent was refusing to expand, he could have won that because of it. It's just that he defended that terribly. But that'll do it for this week. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week.